My name's Eric Canals with Humanities Team's Mindfulness Exercises. Okay. The human species has what's known as the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is made up of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. So we have the sympathetic nervous system, SNS, which is also associated with fight and flight. On the right side, we have the parasympathetic nervous system, associated with rest and repair, rest and repose. Both of these parts of the nervous system are always working together. They're always pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling. So neither one of them is dominant at any given time. They're sharing the space. But we know that as the human species is, we are biased towards stress. There's a natural, innate bias towards stress in the human species. When we add stress in life on top of our natural physiological stress state, it can become chronic. And when it does, it's problematic. Disease can arise into our bodies when we're chronically stressed. When you look at the left-hand side here, then we see that fight or flight is accompanied by feeling states of not having trust, not being in trust, being in fear. We're in survival. We're trying to figure out where the next mortgage payment's going to come from, or whether or not they're going to close the next deal. Sometimes people ask me when we're in fight or flight, how do I know I'm in fight or flight? And I tell them, if you think about the thoughts, if you pay attention to the thoughts that arise into your awareness, and you notice what those thoughts are about, if they're in judgment or you're comparing, you're in a fight or flight state. It's very subtle, but it's a good way of checking yourself, saying, oh, I'm in protection, I'm in survival. The sympathetic nervous system produces hormones associated with the feeling states of the sympathetic. Fight or flight produces hormones. These are stress hormones. One of the stress hormones, first of all, we need stress hormones. They're good for us. We need them. But when we're chronically stressed, then they do damage to our immune system. And we now know that 8 of 10 diseases are produced by stress states. So what we want to do is you will be able to learn in this process how to identify these feeling states and then shift from fight or flight to a parasympathetic state of rest repose, which are accompanied by a different set of feeling states. Over here we have basic trust, which you can see is the opposite of no trust. We have basic trust. Over here we have safety. Over here we're not feeling safe. In the parasympathetic, we can describe our feeling states or our mental states as being open and curious and okay with what arises. Over here, the sympathetic nervous system is not interested in being open, not interested in curiosity or what is arising. It's simply in protection and is responding to protect you in that moment. There's no creativity when you're in a sympathetic feeling state. So what we want to do is shift from the feeling state of fight or flight, which is accompanied by the limbic system. Using mindfulness exercises, we're going to create this objective awareness, this ability to observe and notice which is arising, and then through choice, we're invoking these feeling states of the parasympathetic nature. When we do that, and we convince all 50 trillion cells in the body, this is the cell, this is the DNA in the center, these are hormones attaching to the outside. The red hormones, the stress hormones are attached. What we want to do is we want to move our feeling states into parasympathetic, which will produce the endorphins, which are the antidote to the stress hormones. When these are released into the body, then they mitigate, they take away the impact of the stress on the body, which allows us to move into a natural state of rest and repair. So what the takeaway here is that you as a human being in the human species have a capacity to engage the body-mind, engage the feeling states in the body with your mind, and shift to a parasympathetic state, which is really your natural state of being, of rest and repair. It's the ideal place we want to be. Invoking these powerful biochemicals that mitigate the stress in your body and bring your body back into a place of balance, peace, trust, and safety. And with that, what you take away is you start experiencing the world in a totally different way. You occur from a different feeling state, and therefore what you see and you experience is different for you. So what was yesterday is no longer experienced in the same way because you're not the same person. You've changed at a hormonal level how you occur, and therefore how you experience life will change. So this is an exciting part of this knowledge we now have. We know how to invoke these feeling states and change how we occur.